look at accounts, it's going to have most of your guys' current accounts in there.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we go to data loader. We're going to start from the beginning. We're going to do an upsert. So we're going to do an upsert of accounts initially. We'll browse. We'll find our PSO credit. Click on that. So on the account field, we're going to use this PID key for the matching field. So that way, if there's already any accounts in there with that same number, we're going to use that to update the existing account. And if there's not, then it'll create a brand new one.
Okay.
So we don't have to do anything here because there's no parent object to the account. And here is where we'll map then. So these are up on the top. These are all the fields that are in Salesforce. And down here, these are the fields that are in your Excel file. So we want to find the ID is going to match the credit account. Then we're going to do region 1 is what I created here. Territory and subregion. Just going to look at the file clip to make sure that I have those right. Territory, subregion, and region. Right. So then we can map anything else that we would like to map. For right now, do you guys want me to map more? I mean, I think those are the basics with the name too.
Is it? I think we should try to map the contact if we can.
So the contact will be a second to load. So we
Okay.
create these accounts, and then we'll update the contacts for the next one.
Okay. And is this going to create the opportunity?
This will not, that'll be a separate one too. So
Okay.
you'll have to do 3 uploads, and it'll upload everything then for you.
So this is basically determining what's already been assigned then?
Yep, so what's already there, and it creates new accounts for those that aren't there, and then we can attach everything to the accounts. But the account has to exist in order for anything to be attached to it first.
Okay.
So some of these accounts are not going to be in there. So it'll create those accounts so that we have something to attach them to.
Okay.
So all I'm mapping right now is the name and then those regions you gave me and that TID number.
All right.
So if I just do those, I mean, we can do obviously more. I'm going to load these success and error reports into a different folder, and we're going to finish. So here it will create or update any of those accounts. I'm doing them one at a time. You could do them in batch sizes of up to 200. The only reason you'd want to do them one at a time is if there's workflows firing. So we can actually check on these, and we'll see that this person right here, we go back into Salesforce or the sandbox, and we're going to search account. Here it is. It has updated the account here, the region here, and in your production, these 3 will be hidden. I just wanted to show you guys. These are the 3 fields we added in, and it updated with the region and the account owner itself. So you no longer have to do that. As long as your file has these 3 things, it'll automatically update those for you.
And Ashley, if that account had multiple credit account numbers or TIDs, did we say it's going to create multiple account names then?
Yes. So if there's multiple TID numbers or credit numbers that belong to this account, it would create more than one account. Because what is being created is this TID number is what's being looked at as unique, not the account name.
So if, not uncommon for the same customer to have U.S. Army to have 20 accounts. You'd have 20 different U.S. Army account names.
So what you could do
Would they roll up to a parent or not?
What you could do is your original account can be the parent account, and any account that, or any credit account number that is created or given to them after that initial one, you can link them together for a hierarchy. So if I wanted to add, this is sandbox, so you guys don't have to worry about anything being messed up in production. But let's say this AA Colorado is the parent account. I can save it now, view the hierarchy, and you can see any of the credit accounts that are then going to belong to that parent account.
Okay.
So if it has the same number there, we could make the original a parent.
Yep, and that's something that you can very easily connect, and then you can see how many accounts are with that account, or how many credit accounts that account has.
So first, so what we just saw you do here is simple upload of a data. How's that different from what we're doing today?
So today, from what I understand, James is having to manually go through and assign each of these to a rep, and then he sends out a file, and that file, those reps then have to manually input all of these accounts. So instead of having to send out 75 accounts to each of your reps to manually input, you can now update all 300 in a matter of minutes.
So it's good for you, James. What's the big impact?
Works manually entering in. Well, I would manually go through the sheet, assign everything, break it out into 10 territories and 10 sheets, and pass it over to them. And they would have to enter in the accounts if they're not there, the contacts and the opportunities.
So this takes away all manual entry for them.
It should, yeah.
How much?
Yeah, and Kevin, oops, sorry.
Depends on the file size, but it could be a couple hours worth of work, maybe twice a quarter, no, every 2 weeks.
So a couple hours. Okay.
So if we want to then add in all those contacts to the file, we are going to do, and these are reports that can be set up automatically, or so that they're already created for you guys.
Hey, so hold on a second, Ashley. I wanted to speak to the point that was made previously about what you're saving. Obviously, James is going to have the best insight into that, but if you wanted to see it, I have a video of what that former process looked like, and you'll discern for yourself that, I mean, it's a very manually intensive process. A lot of formatting goes into that upfront spreadsheet before you can even get it to the point where we're sending it out to the ISRs to import it into SFDC. So I want to emphasize the idea that with this data importer exporter, you're not only doing the formatting and the sending off to folks, you're eliminating those two phases, but you're also doing the ISR portion of the updating. So you're really tackling 3 components, all with that one piece of automation. And again, if you wanted to see what that looked like in the as is, we have a video of what that looked like. It's a pretty extensive amount of button clicking and manual process. James makes it look easy because he's done it so many times, but it is an extensive process. Is my overall point. I just wanted to extend that.
So and I appreciate that. So we're going to save a couple hours a week, a couple hours every other week, an hour a week.
I was pulling it bi-weekly, so I'd say a couple hours every 2 weeks times however many reps.
Great. Okay.
Yep.
The other impact there, though, is fidelity, right? Well, just integrity of doing it, because if James did it and sent it off, that doesn't necessarily mean that the ISR is taking it and running downstream with it and putting it into SFDC. So you have a data integrity component that you're tackling with this improvement that you weren't monitoring when you were just sending it off to ISRs. Right.
Correct.
And one of the big aspects of some of the things we want to do downstream has a lot to do with data integrity. I mean, a lot of the input into SFDC needs to be cleaned up, and this is one of those components that will contribute to that, because now you'll know two sources. It's either coming from directly from the spreadsheet, or it's going into the mapping that's going into the data importer exporter. Those are the only two capabilities that, or the only two entry points that you could have screwed it up.
Gotcha. So what type of training is needed for our team on this?
So
I would need to train anybody who's going to do the uploads into Salesforce on the data loader.
James.
Yeah, that's me.
What about in their daily process? They're not going to be uploading it anymore. It's just they're going to see it in Salesforce the same way it would look if they entered it themselves, right?
Yep.
Okay. Good.
When we upload these, are they notified that these were put into their pipeline, or?
We can notify them. As of right now, I don't have it set up.
Okay.
But I will show you this.
So
These are the things I created, and as a part of the workflow actions, you update the owner. We can check in this update that the person is notified. So we can notify the assignee that they're getting new accounts.
Okay.
I obviously don't have it checked now because I didn't want them getting a whole bunch of
Right.
notifications in the sandbox that they've got new accounts.
But so if we put in 75 accounts, are they going to get 75 notifications then?
Yes, they would.
Maybe I just shoot an email.
Yeah. Let's not do that.
So I wanted to speak to one other part of that training too. This is one of those pieces that I've already gotten the documentation, Kevin, that will be updated now that we come to a decision as to whether or not we're going to go live with this and what those process steps will be. So if you look at the process documentation today, it doesn't contain what this process is, but it will as soon as we agree on it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's great.
So and now that these accounts are created, you'd go through the same process. I pulled the report, I exported it, and just did one VLOOKUP. I have these account IDs, and now I can go ahead and add all these contacts. And it'll automatically add in all those contacts as well.
Great.
So can I ask you another question?
Yep.
We're going to end up with multiple contacts potentially as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Because of the credit account ID number, or?
Well, let's say the first guy, say he has, over the course of a couple years, had 10 different PSO account numbers. When we do this, there'll be 10 different Daniel, whatever his name is, in Salesforce. Like if we search by his name, will 10 different contacts show up?
So there would be a contact for each account that he is connected to. If you don't want it that way, we can set it so that you can't have multiple contacts with the same name. But if he's going to be connected to each of those opportunities, he will have to exist on more than one account.
Just something to think about.
Okay.
There'll be a lot of duplicates.
Well, how can we fix that? How big of an issue is that for you?
Just as things for them to, I guess I'll have to see how they look up the opportunity, so I'm probably getting ahead of myself.
Hey, I wanted to chime in here about the duplicates as well. There's an unintended benefit to having the duplicates. By using this data importer exporter and creating this either account, contact, or opportunity, and the fact that Salesforce doesn't let you have duplicates, it'll flag them, and we can, in instances where you don't want the duplicate, I'm not talking about you wanted it, you purposely wanted it, you'll have to address how you deal with that, and we could talk about that, but in instances where you didn't want it, and again, it's a data integrity problem, what you're doing, the unintended benefit is you're identifying those, and we can start cleaning that up. So it's a good thing that utilizing this tool is going to expose those duplicates where you don't want them, so we can get those out of SFDC or archive them so you don't have that data integrity problem again too. So I just wanted to comment to the idea that there's an unintended benefit there that's going to come from that. Just wanted to let you know.
Okay.
So the other thing that I also wanted to let you guys know is Salesforce recently released a way that you can associate a contact to more than one account. They do have one primary account, but this is something that you guys can add on a contact level. I just want to show you guys this if you guys are looking to not have the duplicates. Okay, so it's not activated on yours yet, but it is something that will be activated within the next like 3 or 4 days on your, because the deadline I believe is the 2nd. So you guys don't have it activated yet, but by the 2nd you will have it, and what it is a related list just like these, and it'll give you a number of accounts that you can associate the same contact to, and that can be something that is filled in instead of a contact being created on each account as well.
Well, that helps you.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, good.
So that is like 2 days down the line before you guys have that release because you're on a different edition than I'm on. So we've already gotten that release. But if it's something that you guys are interested in when it fully releases, then we can get it for you guys as well.
Okay.
Any other questions? Or do you have any questions?
What questions do you have, James and I?
I think once we get through this, I'll have some more questions.
Okay, yeah, let's continue.
Okay. So now that this is done, I would go through and I'd insert these contacts.
I didn't break apart the first and last name. I would have to do that, I think. Actually do this.
Well, what do you mean?
Let me see.
Can't see it, it's locked.
Yeah, because it's looking for first name and then last name. So
I'd have to do like a text to columns, which is not a problem. I just didn't do it. I was giving you a heads up.
okay, I'm just gonna load the full name into the first name then. Is that okay? So the name, there's email, contact email. We're gonna do account ID. So I'm just doing those couple of fields. Next, we're going to finish, and it's going to insert all of those for you as well. Ah, there's errors. So this is what Gabe was talking about. When there's an error, it's not going to, oh, so the required fields are missing. So instead of doing this in first name, I'm going to do it in last name. Instead of, it won't update anything if it finds an error.
Okay.
So that's where it'll show you duplicates, because if there's 2 accounts that have that same number, it'll throw an error and not update them. So that'll help you with your duplicates.
So a lot of times when this gets implemented, it gets very annoying. Okay, it's going to be very annoying for the first couple of weeks when you see this, but again, it's going to go back to process, and I'm just teeing up the idea that it's a good thing. It's an unintended benefit to having that data integrity check. So, you just gonna have to live with it for a little bit. Again, a little bit more commentary.
Yep.
And then where is... All right, since we didn't figure these out, I'm just going to throw a random field into first name so that we can push it through. Now it's updating these, and if I immediately go to this first account, oops, sorry. We'll use this. It's going to pull up that first account, and now I've inserted the contact as well. I just inserted this as a random one so that we have a name in there.
Yep.
But it inserted the contact, if you want the title that's in there, a phone number. I just mapped the very basic stuff so that you guys could see it, but you can map as much as you guys want. And it automatically now creates all of those contacts as well. So then once it's done, if you want to go ahead and do opportunities, you do opportunities the exact same way. So this one doesn't have any opportunities on it, but if you wanted to throw a PSO opportunity on every single one of these, you could say name, PSO. You can now use the same file and throw in a PSO opportunity name on every single one of those accounts as well.
Okay.
Would you like me to go through doing that?
Yeah, I'd like to see how it attaches
Okay.
to the contact.
So, all right, what fields? Okay, start date, a close date. I'm going to make these all the exact same opportunity just to let you know.
So that
And then we'll throw in an end date. I'm not sure if you guys have any validation rules in place. You happen to know if you do?
the close date would be the expiration date of the account, but I would just change that column heading. I see what you're doing. For the purpose of this is fine.
Okay. Anything else we need? So then, if you want to attach opportunity or a contact to these opportunities as well, like this contact role, then we would also need to pull one more report that has all of the contact IDs in it. So these are reports, like I said, that I can create for you so that it's just a matter of pulling a report and exporting it. And you would do one more VLOOKUP. Sorry, guys, that's my dog. He got a little bit excited there. And then we would go to... Sorry. All right. We would add one more in here for contact ID. We look up the same way. For this credit account. And it'll give us all these contact IDs. Now we save the file. And like I said, these reports you won't have to build. I want to make sure you guys know that.
Yep.
So now we would update the opportunity. We'll use the same file. So we're going to want to map it to an account ID. We're going to want to do, I didn't put stage in there. Put opportunity type in there either. So those are things that, you guys have more than one opportunity type or no?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to have to stick an opportunity type in here because otherwise it's going to fail on me.
I think public would work.
Public? Okay. And then we'll insert these again. So it is going to have to be 2 inserts for the contacts and then the contact roles. Because as you can see, they have the opportunity and then they have the contact role. So first we'll create the opportunities, and then we'll attach the contacts to opportunities. The account name is the only one. Name. Type. That should be the basics that I need. We shall see if there's anything else that's required. But it looks like there is something else. We view the errors, and it's probably going to require an amount. Stage name and close date. So you guys have stage name and close date required as well.
Yeah, she's just she's adding in some things like contact IDs.
Stage name.
If you want, yeah, you could just call that close date.
And do you happen to know what one of your stages is named?
You could do qualified interest.
All right. Do you guys require amount or no?
Probably.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw something in there then now too.
The yeah, that's fine. The amount will be on here.
And this will come over.
There we go.
There's a lot of required fields. What else is in there?
Yeah, I didn't check to see what you guys required.
So here's another dumb guy insertion there. That was an observation that I think we had across the board. James, maybe there's the required fields are entirely configurable, right? So as we go through data cleanup phase, we should really consider, what do those really have to be? Because it's obviously going to drive the level of automation that we can introduce. and some of those required fields, at least from the videos, really weren't required. You guys were just putting in something as a canned entry. So, and I don't mean to diminish the importance. I simply mean to say that maybe we could spend some time to reevaluate what the required fields are and whether or not they really are required. And if so, then we'll keep them. If not, then we could edit the administration rules around those data fields and minimize the amount of import that you need here. Does that make sense?
Yep. There's gonna be a bunch more, I think.
There's a bunch more required.
Yep.
What do you think was missing from when Gabe collected the stuff from what I don't know, he was watching processes or something? What else is what kind of stuff is still required?
All of these fields in red are required on opportunity, and this is the first time we've tried to upload.
Okay.
But Ashley, you're probably gonna get an error, so just so you know.
Okay. There's more. Oh, nope, they're successfully inserting now.
Really?
Yes. So I must have gotten all the required ones. So we now.
They're definitely not there.
Can you send her a screenshot or share your screen? Probably best. Well, probably share your screen because you have to scroll down. There's more down below.
It's just these.
Oh. So then if we look at this account.
Let's look at this real quick. It's fine because I'd be setting up the sheet anyway, so I'll know what's required.
Okay.
So if we go to this account, this DNB one that we just inserted, it now has this existing opportunity for $1 on it. It filled in the fields that I mapped. Obviously, if you guys want booking date or course start date, those are things you can stick into your Excel file. It loads everything in automatically then once you map it correctly.
Hey, could you click edit real quick?
So the other things that are required, so like this territory and this location,
Yeah.
if you guys have required it yourself, the data loader will let you bypass it. If they're required fields for Salesforce,
That's what it is. Okay.
pass it. So those have now all updated. They were all successful. The last one that you would have to do then is attaching the contact roles. So 4 uploads. It'll literally take you probably a total of a half an hour, including formatting the Excel for spreadsheet, instead of the 2 to 3 hours every single person that would have to do this.
So I want to jump in here too while she's doing that. This is a perfect example, and this is to you and Keith, Kevin. When we went through the BRD the other week, and I said, hey, there's some big hitters that you can go and tackle with SFDC. This was one of them, and I want you guys to recognize that this one capability affects all 4 of those that we listed. So it's not that you're going to see 4 different solution sets. It's this same solution will apply to all 4. So that's one thing to note. The other thing to note is all she did was add a TID field and utilize that TID field as a mapper for all these dependencies. Okay, so it's not the massive amount, and I say that because of repeatability. So if we go down the path of using this same capability on other accounts, we're not talking about the fact that VMware was set up in a particular way, and if we don't mimic it, then we can't apply it. It can be applied. It can be replicated across all your accounts. The only thing we added here was a TID field. So that's the second point to take away. And then probably the third point to take away based on what we reviewed last week was, this is why I said your custom automation really isn't going to add a whole hell of a lot of value, because what I see would be to make it where you don't have to do this 4 times, right? I could write code that would utilize the SFDC URLs to download, so they could click one button and it would do all 4 of these imports, so you weren't doing all 4 of them individually, like Ashley just described. You'd have to do it for accounts, you'd have to do it for contacts, for opportunities. The automation I could add would be that you didn't have to do it 4 times. You could just click a button and it would invoke Salesforce to do all 3 of them, right? But if you look at the relative gain from doing that versus what it's going to take me to code it out, I don't know that you're willing to, put in the time or the effort, right? Because you're going to need some infrastructure and development from skill sets and all those conversations we had before. So this is just a perfect example to tie together that point that I made last week. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That's good.
What's that?
What was the number we calculated how much that would cost us?
Yeah. Okay. So Gabe, what is the TID field?
It's a PSO account.
Yep, I just named it that.
Yeah. Yep, you got it. It was used interchangeably, guys. It was TID in some of the videos, and it was PSO account number in others. We just didn't clarify. So here's another point that maybe I should make too. When we talk about fields, required fields, and we talk about just lexicon, like what we call things, I'm also including 2 sections in the BRD to capture both of those. So that way, again, for repeatability, if you guys do this on another account, you should maintain a lexicon and you should maintain required fields when you go through these processes, because as you can see, it does matter, right?
Yep.
So I guess the obvious question is, how quickly can we start doing this, James?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I have to get some training from Ashley on it. Ashley, as far as getting that territory field, is that something we can do a VLOOKUP on? Because that basically determines. I have some reports. I leverage the territory field to generate pipeline reports.
Yep.
So I imagine we'd have to do some kind of VLOOKUP to see who those. So the account owner.
Yep.
Would equal territory.
I did this based on the file you'd sent over. If that changes at all, or if it has changed, or if I have to add anything, that's no problem. I can do that.
Okay.
These fields will not be viewable, but you will still be able to report on them if need be in Salesforce.
So if my reps typically pull a pipeline report by territory name, I just want to make sure that we're able to get that uploaded when we do this, or find a way to.
With this one, like this Northeast Canada one, or this Tom CA Atlantic one?
Yeah, based on that information, I want the territory field and the opportunity to say Ken Rickabaugh.
Ah, okay. So, yep, that's something that you just add that into the opportunity import. So we can do a VLOOKUP, move it over, and then it would be done in the import. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Otherwise, I can look to create a workflow that anytime an opportunity is created, it will automatically be updated with the territory. Oh, see, these aren't the same territories that are on the account level.
Right. Those are going to be our reps that map to those regions and sub-regions I sent over.
Okay. So I can create a workflow that'll update it automatically for you, or you can do a VLOOKUP. It's up to you.
Okay. Okay.
So Ashley, I think
it's possible, so we can figure that out.
Yes, it is possible.
Hey, Ashley, so again, thinking back to data integrity, right?
Yep.
Which would be the better solution? To put it into Salesforce as a drop-down list, or to utilize the VLOOKUP capability and then import it?
It would. I would suggest that I create a workflow to automatically update it because it's one less thing that you have to think about then to make sure you're doing because that takes your VLOOKUPs from 4 to 5, and if
Right.
you keep adding those, then it becomes more and more work, and this becomes less and less automatic for you. So anything we can automate, I would suggest we automate. That territory is something that can be automated. I can auto-populate this TID number from the account. Um,
Yep.
anything that is coming from another field or depends on another field can be auto-updated. The only things that can't be are, like the amount. It's going to change each time. Or
Okay.
the close date. Those are things that you're still going to have to import yourself because it's not going to be the same all around, and it's not depending on a different field.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the reason why I brought up that question was to point out the idea that, as these automation solutions get incorporated into prod, the next big hangup that we need to start making sure that we're ahead of is the data integrity thing, because that is going to enable the next automation push. Once we get that data cleaned up, then we can start doing other cool stuff where systems are talking to systems, but until then, we're going to be in this situation where we're limited by what's already in there. And so anytime, like to Ashley's point, anytime that we can automate it and let SFDC do it and let that be the source of record, we want to be thinking about that.
Okay.
And what is in the data that's messy now? Well, all kinds of stuff, or are there like some categories of things that we got to go clean up?
What comes to mind are invalid contacts, just stuff that people shift jobs and
Right.
they've been in there for 6 or 7 years.
Right.
And that's some of that I think we have assigned to a role to start doing that, and it's something we can clean up over time. Gabe, I don't know what you thought about an immediate impact on cleaning the data, aside from the mail merges and things we already talked about.
Yeah, so this is the biggest one, which is to expose duplication. And I think the importer, just based on its functionality, is going to expose that. I think that'll take care of about, if I was guessing, I'd say about 60 to 70% of the cleanup activity, and then it'll come down to just tribal knowledge as we go through accounts and recognize that data needs to be updated. There's really no automated. I mean, there are automated ways to do that, but they're not going to add any value. The business case won't close. So I think if we could, but I think though, having said that, if we get to 60-70% of cleanup, then what I was just referring to, where we're talking about system to system talking, that'll be enabled. We'll be in a situation where that'll be much more. The business case for investing in infrastructure and investing in custom code will be there. Right now, it's not. Does that make sense?
Yep. Ashley, could you show me something really quick?
Yep.
If you took the 5th name on the list and plugged it in a search, this person has multiple accounts. I just want to see what it looks like. So that's Sanad, whatever. Yeah. So if I'm talking with that person on the phone and I want to pull them up by name.
So right now there's 2 accounts.
So there'll be 2.
Yeah.
I'm just talking through this. And I want to log an activity. I'm going to have to go in and find out, I guess, which opportunity that applies to. Or does that matter?
I think it does.
What I haven't done right now is we haven't connected these. What we could do is connect them on an account level. So one's a parent account, one's a child account, as well as once that release comes up, we can not create the duplicate contacts and instead relate one contact to 2 accounts. If that is the case, you are going to have to stick the activity on the primary account, though.
Okay. So the team will, I mean, these are just some changes that we'll have to train them up on. And then so the same case, if I use the connector from Outlook to Salesforce, do you know if we can just get it to attach one activity to the primary, or is it going to go to all the different synods?
Nope, you should be able to select the primary, or if when we get to the point where that release comes out to you guys, then it'll only have the one contact for you to attach anything to.
Okay. Okay, so we'll need to probably revisit once that release comes out.
It's supposed to go live this weekend, so I can look at setting it up this weekend so you can see what it looks like.
Okay.
Okay. Overall, I think it's great, and they should be really pleased. That was a big ask.
Yeah, this is awesome. Okay. What else?
So those, I think, were the main things. There was one other that there was the potential that we could do is updating those classes. That's something I'm still working on. It's definitely took longer than I thought it was going to take. And with me being out on leave, I wasn't able to do the class part of it yet. But I will definitely try to get you that. This was the main thing that I remember from the email, though.
And was the classes, was that the actual class name, or was that like, because I added registration ID per VMware's request as well. Was that something we're just trying to cross-reference with MyLearn for the closeout?
Yes, so the goal is to be able to do this exact same thing for classes and have all of those opportunities auto-update for you. So when you go when you load that class into Salesforce, these booking verified, attended, and no-show will automatically check for you on an opportunity level.
Okay.
It's something that I am working on right now.
Okay. All right. Oh.
That way it's just a load and you don't have to go into every single opportunity. We can also have it automatically close win or close lose, depending if they show or don't show. We can have all of that stuff automated.
And back to loading the opportunities and accounts, there were several regions that we couldn't map because they crossed into multiple territories.
Yep.
Do I need to take those off of the CSV file before uploading?
Nope. What'll happen is, like, there was also a couple of accounts that I didn't have in the file that you sent me, like federal civilian.
Yeah.
So if you go to, and this will be the same report that I just created for you. Let's say all of those that are created today. So these ones that I didn't have built in, they're still owned by me. When you load it in, they will be owned by you, and they will not have a region or territory. So those were all those federal civilian ones. The ones that were Northeast Canada, that were the ones that I had. Those were the ones that were automatically updated. So you'll be able to run this same report, and you can see which ones are blank. And that way, if you need to look into them further, you can look into them further.
Okay.
So in order to get all these other ones to map that were like the federal civilian or anything like that, I just need an updated file for the regions and territories, and then I can add those in as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So 2 regions will be really easy, Fed and SLED, and then I think there's a handful that I'll have to manually dig through some systems to see who they belong to, which we expected. So that's not a big deal. Okay. I'm good.
No, I think this is great. I know I came in towards the end of it, so this is awesome. It sounds like it's really going to make a big impact on James's team. I think we should continue to look for ways further down the process. This is early on, so we can make calls. Let's see how we can incorporate some fixes in Salesforce after we make the calls. Now we can improve some of the manual processes we have there. That would be obviously a logical next step. So This is good stuff. Thanks, everybody. I don't know if anything else, Steve.
No, thanks, guys. I appreciate all the work that went into this, and I think, this is early step in the journey. We got to get things set up for the transition, and then I think we've got a fun opportunity to really drive some more automation into this. So thanks.
All right, and we'll, Gabe, are you going to send out a meeting for our 4 o'clock?
Yep.
We lost everybody.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
I'm still here. I'll make sure he sends out the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, thanks. Bye.
All right, bye.